Hi everybody, my name is Nanika Edwards, and in this video I'd like to share 5 recommendations for books about critical thinking and emotional intelligence for kids. And I know that many of my followers are homeschoolers and that you might appreciate some book recommendations that are specifically for children. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 book recommendations that are ideal for teaching or learning critical thinking and emotional intelligence combined. Now, emotional intelligence is really a subset of critical thinking. Emotional intelligence is one of the pillars of critical thinking, but very often we treat them as separate subjects unto themselves. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. So these are books in which you can learn both critical thinking in general and emotional intelligence specifically. So book number 1, Rhyme with Reason, Noah's Ark, Book 1. This is one of my books, and it is a collection of poetry in which animal traits and animal behavior, critter behavior, is paralleled with human psychology. It includes fun facts, and the poems are written in the traditional classical rhyming style that many of us would be familiar with. Book number 2, Critter, Calligraphy, Animal Alphabet Stories. This is also one of my books, and it features super short stories that are designed to teach critical thinking and emotional intelligence in a really fun way without your kids even realizing that that's what's happening. So it's one of those books that really helps the medicine go down very, very sweetly. Rhyme with Reason is also an easy read, and I think your kids would enjoy both of them. Animal Alphabet Stories includes poetry and prose. The third book on my list is Aesop's Fables. This is a classic that I think any child should have in their library, in their personal library, in their personal collection of literature. Aesop's Fables is a collection of animal themed stories. Yes, I know there's a common thread here. All of the books that I've shared so far are connected to the animal kingdom. So Aesop's Fables is a collection of animal theme stories which all carry a moral tale. And they're really fun to do with kids because you can always read them and then, read them together and then ask your children or your child, what they think the lesson to be learned or the lesson to be extracted is. So Aesop's Fables is another book that I would recommend. And my fourth recommendation is another animal theme book. Now, I don't have a specific title for a book because there are so many books about this particular character, and that would be anything about Brer Anansi. Brer Anansi or Anansi stories are tales which come from the African continent. We have adopted them into our own culture here in the Caribbean, as I think maybe especially the English speaking Caribbean. And Anansi stories feature a very mischievous, fun loving, lovable arachnid called Anansi, a spider. And the stories are all about how this little creature can outsmart forest animals, forest neighbors that are much bigger than he is. So Brer Anansi, I definitely recommend Brer Anansi. It's always fun to see how he it's always fun to to read the plot twists in Brer Anansi. They're always interesting, and the way Anansi manages to weave a web of mischief and masterful outwitting is always a joy. Always a joy, always very entertaining. And finally, my fifth recommendation is The Little Prince. So this time, my book recommendation is not connected to the animal kingdom, but it is an excellent book for exploring the themes of critical thinking and emotional intelligence without necessarily saying that outright. So these are the books that I would recommend. Let me list them again. Number one, Rhyme with Reason, Noah's Ark, Book One, by yours truly. Critter Calligraphy, Animal Alphabet Stories, again by yours truly. Aesop's Fables, well, by somebody called Aesop. um, and number four, any tales that you would find online about Brer Anansi, or Anansi stories, Anansi the spider. I would recommend a collection of those stories or books that feature a single tale about Anansi. And finally, number five, I would recommend The Little Prince. The Little Prince is a classic, just like Aesop's Fables and Brer Anansi. Although I think that The Little Prince would be a lot more modern. The Little Prince was written by Antoine d'Exupéry, I think is the name of the author. It's a wonderful book. This is a book that I have read over and over and over, actually in different languages. I really love The Little Prince. The language is very, very simple, but the tale is profound. So profound that even though it's really written for kids, it's also very popular with adults. So these are my five recommendations. I hope that you enjoy them. I don't think that you can go wrong with any of these. And the reason why I think it makes sense to purchase books for your kids that deal specifically with critical thinking and emotional intelligence is because they are two key elements, two key skills that employers look for in potential employees. And even if your child decides to start their own business, to be an entrepreneur, these skills are absolutely critical. They're absolutely necessary. And in this age of AI, you really can't go wrong with anything that helps someone to develop critical thinking and emotional intelligence. It will give you an edge. And the fact is, most people today struggle in these areas. Critical thinking and emotional intelligence do not come naturally to most people, I would say. So I would definitely encourage you to invest in some of these books or all of these books, add them to your library, and I think you will reap many, many priceless rewards. So that's it for this video. I'll have more recommendations coming in the future, and you can look out for those. Until the next time.